Guys, welcome to Fitness Business Secrets. I've got my amazing friend and partner, Brad Bedford, on. We've got a bumper episode for you guys today. What we're going to cover is our best memories owning a fitness business, how we believe a well-trained sales rep will beat any automation, but automations are cool, but good sales reps are better. How Tori got 88 leads over the last 30 days, an overview of the sales role play training that Brad did in the inner circle on Friday, which was absolutely incredible. I wasn't able to be on there live, Brad. I'm sorry. Very sorry.
It's okay.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how Heath went to Bali. He hit 150 members and he had a holiday where his business still runs, which is the absolute creme de la creme of running a fitness business. Not many people get to that level. But before we dive into it, Brad, mate, how's the weekend? Your weather looking pretty good over there in Perth at the moment?
Man, weekend was good. I'm obviously away next weekend in Melbourne for the elite event.
Oh yeah, we're away. Hey, on Friday. When do you get down there?
Yeah, I get there on Friday, but I've got my daughter's birthday early December, so I've got like shade sails and stuff to put up in the backyard. So I spent the weekend doing gardening and all the homely stuff you have to do when you own a property. Getting ready for that. But how about you?
Mate, when are we doing the inner circle Chrissy party? I'm going to fly over to the Crown over in Perth.
Well, let's do it.
Get on that. What was it called? That happy hour thing with the bubble gums.
Crystal Club.
We'll head over to the Crystal Club. Mate, weekend was good. I was at like a Grant Cardone 10X conference, 10X baby. And that was really good. It just like crazy motivates you to close more sales and make more money pretty much. Is just the way they sell is like an art form. How about they just start selling like straight up, like the whole way through? I think they pitched like 6 different products. Hey, I didn't know what I was buying in the end, but they got 2K USD out of me. I was nearly there. I was nearly on the rack for 13, but I didn't know if I wanted to go over to America for the live conference and stuff. So I was just like, nah. But it was good. They are good.
Well, they still got you.
Oh yeah, they got me. I'm like big 10X man at the moment. But mate, it's been a while since we owned our gyms. You're just a little bit over a year. Is that right?
Yeah, it's about, I sold it officially last September. So yeah, a little over 12 months now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm about 2 years, a little bit over now. And
yeah,
mate, I just wanted to ask you, what was your best memory post owning a gym that like you really look back on fondly? I'm sure there's a lot, but what was one of your number ones?
Yeah, I think definitely the number one like has to be the first session opening a facility.
It's good feeling.
So, like we painted the walls, we got everything set up, and then the first sessions, but not only the first sessions, I suppose, looking back from how it ended to how the business looked at that first session, because we had dumbbells laying on the floor, no dumbbell racks because they hadn't arrived and stuff, and just looking at what we opened with compared to like what it got to is also like the big memory as well, right?
Yeah, and I remember when we opened our Warrior gym. So we had downstairs, upstairs. So we opened the upstairs level, which is our large groups. When that hit 90 active members, then we released our semi-privates, and we had new members starting, and someone opened the door to downstairs and there was just there was shit everywhere. It was crazy. It was like literally like a bomb site. But always is a good memory. Every time I've opened a gym, like Warriewood and Balgowlah, I was working till like 3 a.m. the night before. So it's like a good memory, but you just like dusted. I'm just like so tired.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to look back, I helped Andrew open his Mandurah facility, and that was a swimming pool. That was an indoor swim school when we first went and looked at it. So like I've got photos in there, like, raking sand into the corners of a swimming pool so we could fill it up and concrete the top of it to open the gym. That sort of stuff.
And you unpacked Pewie's gym as well, didn't you? He was away or something, the dirty dog.
Unfortunately, Dave had a family member that was sick or passed away back in Europe. So he jumped on a plane the day before his container arrived. So he was over having a bit of a trip and dealing with some family stuff, and I unloaded his container with his equipment and set his business up for him.
Yeah, because I remember I'm like, why are you and Brad so close? He's like, he loves you. He loves it. Like, what's the go? I'm like, what's going on here? He's like, oh, Brad's just done so much for me. So I'm like, you went away and Brad set up your gym. Like, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that like the week Dave came back to help start doing some stuff with like bolting, like drilling and bolting things into the wall. And like the first thing we did was put the drill bit through the concrete wall, and a piece of concrete fell onto like the next door reception's desk because he pushed the drill too far. And that was like the relationship, how it started with the guys next door.
It's always dodgy relationships with your neighbors. We had in our Balgowlah gym, we were next door neighbors with it was a photography place. And this guy wanted a dead silent working complex, like any noise. Like he would complain every second day and stuff. Yeah.
Crazy.
One day he came over and like threatened one of our younger trainers. That didn't go down well.
No.
But there's no like people like 40-year-old men who threaten 18-year-olds. You know, and then when the owners come over, he's different dude, you know, oh, it's all good. I'm like, can't swear at one of my
different guy, right?
At one of our young female trainers, bro. And then like act super nice when we come over. Anyways,
it's not all good.
Yeah, probably, mate. My best memory was we had an amazing client named Tristan. He lost like about 22 kilos with us, but his wife was battling cancer. And they were doing it really, really tough financially. And we organized this charity fundraiser where all the money went to him and his family. And I don't remember how much we raised, but we had like 150 people training. So it was like upstairs, downstairs, outdoors, people in the car. It was like too many people to even facilitate a decent session, but it wasn't the point. It was an amazing time to get our community together. It's something that I look back on as, you know, all those like special moments with really great people was probably the highlight for me. And especially Tristan was such a good dude. I miss, when I think about the gyms, it's not actually the gym that I miss, it's the people.
Always
those,
the people.
Those connections. So, and mate, we're having conversation last week. So the big thing on automations, and I love automations. You use a lot of automations as well, but I still believe that a really good sales rep will be automations. And I think I can say, I reckon that fitness business owners are becoming weaker because they rely so much on automations and not actually on being a decent sales rep with really good follow-up. And I hope that it doesn't get worse, but I do hope with our conversation today that those who listen and take action will act differently. But mate, you told me this story because you didn't have automations for a lot of the time in TBC at the start. Hey, there's no such thing back in
the first 4 years, we didn't have automations,
and it's still fine, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
But you said, because you had a bit of a different flow to me with your double dial text, which was absolutely amazing. I wish I had you as a mentor back when I was doing sales. But talk to us about that. About how you would map out like a 10 to 15 minute flow of calling your leads and texting. So it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for me, it's all about like being efficient with my time and trying to multitask as much as I can, right? So for me, I was always big on the double dial.
You love it. You love it.
So what I would do is I would call the lead. Let's say they didn't answer. I would hang up. I would call them again. They wouldn't answer. I'd leave the voice message. And then I would dial the next number and have it ringing. And while it was ringing, I was sending the text to the person that I've just called. Because I always had headphones in my ears, right? So I could type and take notes and that sort of stuff. So while it was dialing, I was texting the person. And again, because the texts were templated, it was just change the first name, maybe change a little bit in the body. It allowed me to get through my lead list really quickly and efficiently. So again, it sounds like a really small thing, but if it takes 20 seconds to send that text message or 30 seconds to send that text message, you know, when you're looking at, 10, 15, 20 leads at a time that you're calling, it adds up quickly.
Yeah. And you were saying you would send the same text each day. It was just copy and paste.
Just copy and pasted. Yeah. So a text in the morning and a text at night.
Yeah. Simple. I used to do the same text, but actually, I'm not going to say what we did because it's worse than what Brad did. So just do what Brad did. It's better.
Yeah. So we would send the text in the morning was pretty simple. It's like, hey, Jimmy, Brad here from, TBC, just giving you a call in regards to your application for the 6-week challenge. Is there a good time to reach you today? ? Simple. At night, very similar message, except it was like, feel free to use this link to book a time that suits you.
Yeah.
And just the booking link. Yeah. Don't complicate it.
And when the automations came into your life, big shout out to Jimmy Buchanan, the main man. Is how did that adjust what you did somewhat? Because I think
it
talk to us
didn't.
about that.
It didn't. It didn't. And this is where a lot of people they stop doing what they're doing because automations can do some of it. What I did worked. So the automations became a supplement, if you like, to what I was doing. That. So it was an add-on, not an instead of. So it was just sending the extra text message and email each day to add to the nurture, because everything that I sent came from my personal mobile phone, right? So it was personal for me. They could reply at any stage and straight through to me. So when we got the one text message and the email through automations, it just added an extra layer for us.
And did you always do sales off your personal mobile?
Always off a personal phone.
Oh, I got a work number, hey, because I hated people calling me when I didn't want them to call me.
Well, for me, it was like, it was my business and it was always me. And then it just sort of stuck. It was convenient. So I just used my work phone.
Well, I think the big difference between you and I is you love sales. You love sales. So you would like, you said, told me stories of like, you close sales at 9:15 at night. When I was like, if someone called me at 9:15 at night, I'm not about that life. So I wanted the separation, but thus you are much better at sales. You close more sales, high ticket, stuff like that, different mindsets.
And we laugh, right? Because there's places that you shouldn't close sales. Like I closed a sale in the birthing suite with my wife for someone to join our Inner Circle program, right?
Salesman closing.
Most wives could go crazy. Like my wife kind of sees the humor because it's like just a story that I can tell. I enjoy it. So that's what I would do.
Mate, you go sales all the time. I remember when I think you were flying over to Sydney. Was it when we caught up, or where were we flying? Where did we catch up recently?
Just Adelaide. Recently it was Adelaide.
And you had Wi-Fi on there, and you're like, I reckon Wi-Fi I can close the sale.
Wi-Fi on the airplane was amazing. The first time I've ever had it. It was great. I couldn't do anything. It worked.
Try and do it on the way to Melbourne. See if you can knock someone over.
Get that Qantas plane. Get that Qantas
flight. Just sitting there, just try to close, and people would get so pissed if you did it.
Again, it's just I was still messaging clients and doing DMs and all that sort of stuff that you, especially in a sales based role and looking after clients, if you can have 2 hours of uninterrupted time, you actually get a lot of work done. So on the plane, I couldn't actually call people unless it was through Facebook, but it gave me 2 hours to send DMs and send text messages. So I was really efficient during that time.
Yeah, 100%. I love chatting to you when you're over, because I was like, you on the plane? But anyways, let's bridge through. So we're going to give big congratulations to Tori. So she got 88 leads. Which leads generally isn't the issue. But what you helped with her in sales, it's been incredible. She's closed over 20 sales since she chatted to you.
Yeah.
Just on crazy, like basic follow-up principles. And she's closing over the phone as well.
And I think the big thing is like people want it to be complicated, so they have an excuse not to close sales, right? So it's like, oh, it's this complicated system, getting too many leads, I can't follow them up. It's like, well, hang on, let's just bring it, like tear it down and let's rebuild it from scratch. What is the minimal effective dose that gets the biggest outcome? It's like block in time to call your leads, block in time to text your leads, open up time in your calendar to book consultations. Like, let's make it as simple as possible and block it out in your calendar so you can be consistent with it.
That's the big thing. Yeah, I think as well is like being able to like handle like big lead volume. There's people who want a lot of leads, but can't handle the volume. So say Tori, first week we turned on our ads, she got 30 leads and was like a little bit chaotic to be able to handle that. So then we just wound it down. She gets about 13 to 16 leads a week, and she's in her zone now where she's just in flow, everything's going well. So you can definitely get too many leads. I don't think there's any such thing as too many leads, but unless you can handle it. If you can handle it, go nuts. If you can't handle it and do the good follow-ups, you might as well not get the leads because you can't contact them.
Correct, definitely. And this is where people have this expectation where it's like, oh, I need X amount of leads per week. Well, and it's fine to have those targets, but if you can't nurture them and book them in for consultations, you're better off getting less leads, servicing them well, and signing them up, because people don't want leads. Leads are useless. People want sales, right? You can have 1,000 leads. If you close no one, you're still going bankrupt. You want sales. And to get the sales, you need to get them onto calls or get them in for consultations. So we need to look at what is your capability of actually following these leads up to book appointments. And then that will dictate how many leads you can handle per week.
Yeah. Do you remember how many leads you wanted to get per week?
It really varied. At the start, it used to be at that sort of, 10 to 15 mark. We more so set the goal of, we wanted 5 sales a week.
Just one sale a day.
That was our goal. 1 sale a day keeps poverty away. That was our saying I used to tell myself. And then for me, it got really exciting when I started looking after sales for multiple clubs, because it went from 5 sales a week to like 25 sales a week. And then, I still remember that, like, my best ever day, I sold 20 6-week challenges in a day. I went 20 from 20. Mental. And I was like, game on, boys, we've got it. And we just grew from there. So it was 1 a day. And then we just obviously multiplied that across the clubs.
And how do you do that off a lead sheet, or how do you piece all that
This
together?
This was all before automations. We just had Excel spreadsheets. So every Facebook ad went to an Excel spreadsheet through Zapier. And we just had it all color coded with notes.
Green,
and we just
green,
worked our way
red.
Through. Green, yellow, red.
Red's
so
bad.
green was sold.
Yep.
Red was not sold. Yellow was follow up, and white was non-contacted yet.
I miss the good old days when we used to have the same. We'd have each month, like January, February, March, and then in March you'd go through February, and then like towards the end of the month, or we always did our follow-ups at the start. You'd go through Jan and just have to manually follow. It's the good old days. You have to roll up your sleeves and do a bit of hard work.
Yeah, and we had like little abbreviations for notes that we were doing. So it was like DD was double dial, VM voicemail, all that sort of stuff. So like, we'd have the date, double dial, and then the time. So we knew we double dialed this person at 7:30 and Brad left a voicemail. So it was pretty simple back in the day.
Well, it's not so like everyone. Some people complain about how hard it is to grow a business, but you don't realize how easy it is now with like automations and systems, and like even like Trainerize, right? Amazing programming system. That wasn't around when I was a trainer. I had like paper and stuff. I was losing my notepad with all my workouts on it. It was mental.
Yeah. I think the thing is like a lot of people think you need automations really early on, and you need all these extravagant systems early on. A lot of the time you can go a very successful business very minimalistically.
We're at 500 plus members off of Google Drive.
We were at 5 clubs off of Google Drive.
Okay, good. Let's bring back Google Drives. Let's make Google Drive sexy again.
Make Google great again. Make Google great again.
They need more money from us. They're Google's struggling. It's like not a very big company, so maybe we can swing them a bit of work, a bit of extra Google Drive stuff. And
that's it,
mate. I was lucky enough. I called Brad on Friday because I was able to watch your sales role play, which I think it was one of your best ever. It was good. It was so good.
It was good fun. And I think what we did differently, you and I spoke during the week, and it's fine when people want to practice sales, they have a script in front of them, right? Which is what we teach, obviously. Have a sales script, know your script inside out. But when you just get a call out of the blue, if you're not, I suppose, over your sales script and your process, it catches you out quickly. And this is a lot of time where people lose inbound leads. So people that are ringing you and are inquiring. So what we essentially ran through on the role play was, if I called you up, how are you going to take me into your sales process or book me in for a consultation? What does that look like? So we just role played with the people inside of our inner circle, me calling them and then trying to either book me in for a consultation or sign me up for a program based on how they sell. And I think the biggest, I suppose, lesson we learned from it was a lot of people weren't sure which avenue to take it initially when someone dials in. Do they try and sell me over the phone? Do they book me in for a big consultation, or do they get me into the club for a consultation? So the big sort of lessons, the way we wrapped it up was make sure we really identify how we want to sell.
Yep.
And when someone dials us, we need to get enough information to move them through to the next step of the pipeline. Because people were sort of half doing a consult, half trying to book people in. It was a bit disjointed. And again, very rarely these days do we have people just call PTs out of the blue. Usually it's through Facebook or anything, which is why we just sort of threw that curveball in there. Because like, hey, this can happen. How do we respond? So some good learning points from the team.
Yeah, it was amazing viewing as well. It was a cracker session.
And the big thing with learning this sort of stuff as well, like you learn a lot from watching other people do it, right? So even though I was working one-on-one with people on a group call, everyone was taking notes and everyone was giving feedback on things that they liked or things that they think from looking at what they did, they can do better as well.
Mate, big question that's been on my mind all weekend. Are you going to launch this series where you cold call gyms and we turn it into content? Or
well, I know we did speak about it.
Mate, do it.
And I think
want to
it's
see
something
you hit people up.
I think it's something that definitely has merit. So we might have a little series that launches in the next couple of weeks.
It's like Brad Bedford cold calling a gym near you very soon.
That's it.
Mate, you get some cracker content.
There'll be good lessons from it as well for everyone. So it's definitely going to be something on the cards.
And also the beast gyms as well. Some would just be like, just sweet.
And some people have their systems very dialed in, right? And some just need little tweaks, but you don't know what you don't know is the big lesson, right?
Mm. And my friend, have got any good memories from Bali in your life? Pretty close over there in Perth.
Yeah, we've been to Bali a few times. Obviously being here in Perth. So I suppose the first, the trip there with Olivia just recently was absolutely amazing. So it's kind of always a nice little easy getaway from Perth. And Liz and I have had a couple of really good trips there. After our wedding, we went there for a week or so. It's just a nice place to go and literally do nothing for me. Like I'm so busy at work and I find it hard to switch off. So quite often I go to Bali, just like 2 or 3 days of walking around the streets, disconnecting, not doing a huge amount, really helps me recharge to come back to work enthusiastically and get those creative juices flowing.
Mate, I love Bali. So guys, he's in Bali. He recently hit 150 members and had a trip to Bali, but I have 2 phases of my life. So I have like young Jimmy and Jimmy people see now. So when I was young, I would go over there and like just smash double doubles and be in Sky Garden and Alley Cats. And I just love it. You just go over there with the boys for like 2 weeks and just so I'm getting silly tattoos on my foot. And then when I met my missus, I started to calm down a lot, which I'm very grateful for. Much love to my wife. And then we just go over and have like really beautiful, relaxing, like what Bali's epitomizes, like just amazing, come back super recharged and stuff. So you can really get the best of both worlds there in Bali.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely can.
I went over once with a couple of mates and it was schoolies and we didn't know. It was mental. It was mental. So I was a toolie.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like 21 for toolies. And mate, getting a business to run without you while you're overseas, like we obviously work with a lot of people on this. What are a couple of things that if anyone would like to travel to Bali or maybe somewhere else in the world whilst their business still runs, what are a couple of things they need to do?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and we've even done this with our business, as we've grown, having people that are trained across multiple facets of the gym. So they can cover each other. And this isn't something that happens in a week. This is something that takes months of future planning. So you really need to look at, what roles do I do in the business as the owner or the manager, whatever sort of role you sort of sit in, and what of those roles do you need to be covered while you're away? Yep. So, it might not be, might not need sales to happen when you're away for Facebook ads, for example, but you want someone to be able to handle, leads if they do inquire. And then from there, build out the systems for it to be able to run and practice it while you're still there. So essentially step away for a week, but still be around, and let the people who are going to take over those roles do those roles so you can help and coach them in real time. So you can actually switch off when you're away, because it's fine to know something's happening when you're away, but as business owners, we stress about it, right? So you want to practice it while you're still here. So when you go away, you can actually switch off.
Yeah, I think the big thing for us, because you and I went away to Fiji, that was a barrel of laughs, a good time. If we walk along the water, and we went out to the restaurant, it was beautiful, beautiful time.
Go jet skiing.
But you've got to book the. we'll link back to the jet ski story in a minute, guys. But you've got to book the holiday, right? Because once we booked it, then me and you went into overdrive for like 3 months, planned it all out. It was like meticulous, our planning. It was crazy. But I don't think so. I worked a little bit over there. I did a bit of content and answered my Asana for like 30 minutes a day just after brekkie. But you didn't do too much over there, did you?
I checked on Facebook and stuff a little bit, checked in with the VA team, but nothing major.
And mate, do you want to tell the crew the jet ski story?
Well, it's your story to tell, Jimmy.
We had a situation in Fiji. So Brad really wanted to go jet skiing, and I was pretty keen as well. And then so we went jet skiing out. It was beautiful, and you were flying as well. Brad loves it. Brad is a bloody speed demon. He was going ballistic. And anyways, we pull in. So there's this like little bay that you go in. So it's like a kind of skinny canal thing. It goes out into the ocean, and then it goes into a lagoon. And we're just at the front of this canal, and we stopped. And then I think the guy was like telling us just to go slow or whatever. And then when we stopped, I was facing like back out to sea, and then we had to go the other way. So then I tried to turn, but I like was going so slow that my jet ski capsized. So it was me and my wife on the back. I still say to the day, I think she over tipped it, but I'll take ownership of it. Tipped over, it's like flipped up. Brad's driving off, the dude's driving off. Brad looks back, turns around, and then we have a flooded jet ski. So we won't talk about the flooded jet ski customer service thing that went down. That's a different story, but it's very, very embarrassing. It's like my wife's on Brad's jet ski. How about the boat? There was this boat driving out, and they see me tip. So like a boat with like 30 people turns around to come and make sure I don't drown. It was incredibly embarrassing times.
Very much so.
And there was no more jet skiing. And then they were like tentative about renting me paddle boards and stuff after that, and like at the water sports. Yeah,
can't control a jet ski.
But overall, we love Fiji. Biggest thing, guys, just remember to enjoy the memories in your fitness business. Like there will be a time where you sell your business and move on. That's a part of life. But really cherish those memories. I do wish I cherished those memories a little bit more when I was active and owning the gyms. Brad's double dial technique and text, simple, effective. And the biggest thing that I picked up, Brad, was that automations are a supplement, doesn't replace really, really good sales follow-up. The 88 leads with Tori, just being really clear on your sales systems, being able to handle inbound calls is a skill and something that you can role play, especially if you're getting like all of your calls diverted to your mobile. It's something that you should definitely practice. And we have that in the IC. And we love Bali. Brad and I love Bali. I don't think I'll go again. Do you want to go to Bali next year?
I'll probably head over again. I'm planning a trip to Europe next year. So I'll probably get to Bali for a little cheeky one because it's so affordable for us in Perth.
Can I come? Now I'm going. So Brad and I are going to Bali next year. I'm a little bit over it, but Brad can't have a holiday without me. So we'll go to Bali. But just remember, guys, if you want your business to run without you, it is possible. Just make sure you document all the tasks that you do as an owner and you have people cross-trained to do it. And a really important thing that Brad said that you might not have picked up on is if you want sales to continue when you're away, because usually that's the thing that falls down, make sure you train your team and you feed them with leads. But if you don't want sales continue, just to make sure they have basic sales follow-up. It's okay if your business doesn't close sales for a week or two. It's not the way I would do it, But if it means you going on holidays, recharging, coming back to dominate, that's totally okay, because business is a marathon, not a sprint. And in the back end of, like, when we talk about Brad's business, he doesn't remember the bad weeks and the bad fortnights. It just goes just in the past. So don't worry if you don't close sales. That's everything for today, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on social media. Where's the best place to find you, Brad?
Just Brad Bedford 87 over on Instagram is best for me.
And I'm all over socials, Jimmy_Pomponio on Instagram, a bit more active on Facebook at the moment. Bye-bye, guys.